Most of the time when you want to have a star, you just take the star tool and draw it. But what if you want to create a star from thin air? Hello and welcome to the Vector Garden. In this video, we are going to create stars from thin air. If you want to have a second star from this star, then of course, in the appearance panel, you can just add another fill or stroke and give it a different color, and then just use either the transform effect or the offset path effect to change the thing and you get a second star. But there's something else. What if you do not have a star, but you have something different? Maybe a text object. Creating stars from thin air is something that you will rarely need because you can just take the tool and draw a star. But maybe you find the need that you want to have a star generated by an appearance. That's what this is about. Let's add another fill to this and give this a different color. And in order to make a star, we first need to convert this to a different shape. It would be the easiest if this just had a star shape, but it doesn't. So number one, we make an ellipse, absolute, and then we can go to Effects, Distort and Transform and do zigzag. And there we can set up the size and also the ridges per segment. But this will only give you a limited control over how the star should look like. That's number one, and it will not work in all circumstances. In order to move the star away, of course, we can use the transform effect and just put it wherever we want to, like here. Let's take a look at the next methods. I'm going to make a duplicate and delete what I don't want here, so I only need to delete that one. And the ellipse effect can be edited. So we can just make this into a rectangle, like this. And now we have two ways to turn that into a star. Number one, we can again use the transform effect, and I'm going to rotate it by 45 degrees. And then let's take a look. That's the one that shifts it, so that needs to be here. And now we need to scale it unproportionally, and that is something we could not do in one go with the rotation. So we need to use another transform effect like this, and there turn off that and then do some scaling like this. Let's take another look. That needs to be up here. And then the next thing, we need another transform effect. And here we can just enter how many points we want to have to the star. And there we get it like that. And again, I need to sort them differently. And then what's important, we need to put this down here. And then we need to edit that star again. We need to edit the second effect, this one here, to make this a little wider to get this kind of star. And again, we then need to move the thing and maybe even scale it. The next method would be to edit the rectangle quite differently. We can get more control over the shape of the points by using the free distort effect. But that has a downside because this is not precise. If you want to have it precise, then you would need Astute graphics effects. But if you have the Astute graphics plugins, then you have a different method altogether that I will cover in the end. So like this, and then again, after that, we're going to use the transform effect and then set this here and again, set the number of points that we want. That is this one. I want that up here and then move it further up like so. That's our next method. And also, if you change the rectangle in the beginning and make the width smaller, then you get this kind of star. So the last method that we have, and for that I'm going to delete all of these effects, that uses Astute graphics plugins. And in there you can go into the effects menu, AG utilities, and there you can make a shape. And this effect gives you a lot of the options that you also find in the dynamic shapes tool. Up here you can select what kind of shape you want. Here we have the star, and you can change the number of sides and the diameter, so you can make it smaller or larger. And when you uncheck regular, then you can also change the outer and the inner diameter. If we change that diameter, then you see you get differently pointed stars, and you can change all of that. So these are the methods to get dynamic stars, and then you can change the text and generate different kinds of texts that all have the same appearance.